ever since we talked. It's Araneae Storm checking in. If y'all come to transform, then you come to the right place. Today we are going to be discussing Uranus in Gemini, okay? The much and long awaited transit, okay? We've had Uranus and Taurus here for about 7, roughly 8 dipping out years. And now we will finally move into the chaotic, did I say that? The chaotic duality of the energy of Gemini. So things are going to go from slow moving Taurian energy, that fixed, earth energy, to this mutable air Geminian energy. Are y'all ready for the shift? I know y'all been feeling it happening so far. I know y'all been feeling the rumbling and the tumbling and all that good stuff, but we here. So let's talk about the transit, the last time we had the transit first and foremost. And before I get into it, I hope everybody's been doing good. I hope everybody's been doing great. Like I said, I know I haven't been on the channel and things like that, but I've been kind of going through some transitions and stuff like that, and we'll get into that in another video and stuff like that. But for now, like I said, we will be discussing Uranus and Gemini and how it would affect you by your rising sign, okay? And if you would like a personal reading, you could definitely hit me up. I'm going to be maybe changing some things around, but the link is in the description box. Also, if you're interested in courses, I just dropped a Jupiter in Cancer course not too long ago, so you can also look that down if you missed the live. And we'll eventually, I'm not sure of the date just yet, but sometime in July, we'll actually have a Uranus and Gemini in-depth webinar. So if you're interested in being a part of that, by the time I drop this video, you should see it down in the description below. So let's just go ahead and get into it. So Uranus and Gemini. So officially we'll have Uranus entering Gemini July 7th, 2025. This transit will be here briefly for a rough period, and then it'll, do its little thing, and then come back, it kind of dip and dip and dip. And then it will be there all the way till May of 2033. So a 7-year-long transit of Uranus in Gemini. All right, it will retrograde in November of 2025 to April of 2026. But like I said, it will fully station after April of 2026, officially into Gemini. So, so the last time we had, let's get into the energy of Gemini, and then we'll talk about the last period. So what is Uranus in Gemini? For those of y'all that are wondering, what does this mean? What are we expecting? Now, with Uranus energy, we don't really know what to expect. And why don't we know what to expect? Because it's Uranus. And on top of Uranus, it's Gemini. And this energy is very chaotic. It's very unpredictable. You kind of don't know what hand, if you're going to show this hand or you're going to show this hand. Like, it could be anything. So we can go from the last transits and what was happening during this time. But also, things are just kind of up for grabs as well too. So just keep that in mind. Like, this is kind of like Pandora's box. All right. So some of the radical shifts that happen when Uranus is in Gemini, or just the energy of it, is where we see Uranus being the planet which is ruled over Aquarius energy. So you could see revolution, especially like in collectives and things like that. And just also individual revolutions that people are like coming back to themselves, honoring their very peculiar and unique qualities about themselves. This is where we talk about innovation, especially when it comes to technology. And why? Because Gemini is mercurial. This is where it comes to like having spiritual awakenings, psychic downloads, ancestral downloads coming through, collective awakenings as well. Like I said, individual awakenings as well. And this is where you can see extremes. Uranus energy is where you can see two sides of the coin. It can either go way left this way, or sometimes it might even go way left this way. You just kind of, like I said, you never really know. But it's a very disruptive energy. It's also one of an energy that disrupts the status quo, and it's not afraid to disrupt that status quo. So what you see in the mundane, the traditional things that you're seeing on a day-to-day basis might not necessarily fit this Uranus energy, and things are going to start to look a lot differently than what we've seen in the past, okay? And so what is Gemini energy? Well, Gemini is mercurial. It's ruled by the planet Mercury. This has to do with all forms of communication, not just writing, speaking, traveling, but the way you dress, the way you cook, the way you speak, the way you, all things, thought, media, siblings in your immediate family. This has to do with local communities, the youth, the duality, right? We talk about the twins when we talk about Gemini. So this can be like the polar opposites of things, everything in between and everything beyond, above, and below. You know what I'm saying, with Gemini energy here. So like I said, you never really know what the card is going to be dealt with Gemini energy, but you just kind of have to flow with it. All right. So definitely getting into that. And then also Uranus and Gemini brings massive shifts when it comes to technology, when it comes to like things like AI, communal networks, brain computer tech. I'm sure y'all have seen and felt like the things that we think of, right? We have ads, which is very mercurial. So like sometimes when you think of something, you're like, why am I thinking of something? And then it pops up as an ad. Or why when I say something, it pops up as an ad, or things, yeah. And then Pluto's also in Aquarius too. So the dark side of the rebirth of technology, but also the dark side of technology that we've all been exposed to when we sign those, what's some things called when we sign those agreement policies on our phones? Yeah, all that kind of stuff that we don't read. Yeah, that too. So that stuff coming out. Also language as well too. So I've seen things, for example, like if I don't know if y'all seen the glasses. Basically, there's these glasses. I don't know who they're connected to or what they're connected to, but they allow you to see things in your language. So let's say you're seeing something in Spanish, but you put the glasses on and you can see it in that. Or if somebody's talking, you can even have basically it's like a translator, so you can hear what people are saying. And also too, not even just that, I think that people are going to start to speak more languages in this time. I think also too, because Gemini is the first Mercury, so I think before Virgo. So I think what we're going to see is old languages, or because Gemini is kind of like the baby, so the first languages, like languages that might have been suppressed due to colonialism and colonization. I think we're going to start to see those languages come back full circle in form too. You know what I mean? So we'll also start to see this as well. Then we'll also go back to, which we're seeing a lot more than often, decentralized learning and education. So taking it out the classroom. I know everybody's upset about, them not putting no money into the education system, and everybody's up in arms. But when we really get down to it and we really think about it, is the education system actually helping us? Or are we being regurgitated information to keep us enslaved to a system, okay, that's a pipeline to the prison system? Because a lot of our, especially in the U.S., a lot of our schools look a lot like jail. Let's just be real. And y'all can argue with me in the comments if you want to. Okay, that's another thing with Gemini, arguments and verbal sparring, right? Communication and verbal sparring. It can also, Gemini rules the hands as well. All right, not just communication, but Gemini physically rules the hands, so keep that in mind. And it also rules travel, short distance travel, in the ways in which we travel. So we're going to see a lot of revolutionary things in the ways in which we are traveling back and forth to different spaces and places, and a lot quicker. So something that might have taken 4 hours is only going to take 2 hours. Something that might have taken 2 days is going to take 1 day instead. We'll start to see revolutionary technology and innovative things that come open, which Uranus is very innovative in those ways as well. Just an example. Also too, how we perceive reality because of technology. So, I want to say this, because we're going to see a lot of information, and as we have, especially with Jupiter and Gemini, this previous transit before we've moved just recently into Jupiter and Cancer, a lot of just spewing of information, false news, false this, false that. You don't know what to believe if something is real or not. Even with AI, it's getting to the point where it's hard to tell if something is AI or if something is real. So you have to be very, very discerning at this time, the type of information you take in. And I honestly see, I'm not gonna lie, I honestly see, because of the disinformation that's happening in the media, I see a lot of people kind of rejecting technology, and not fully rejecting technology, but I see maybe people using it more for like communication things, but then people meeting up in groups or people meeting up in different spaces to actually talk and be and connect versus like everything just being online and social media and things like that. I think a lot of people are going to start disconnecting from the phones, or just finding new ways to use it without it like literally sucking the soul out of us. Because I mean, essentially, the doom scrolling and all that kind of stuff, it can get hectic. And also with Uranus and Gemini, it can rev up in this energy because the nervous system and the dopamine and the constant need for stimulation, which is Gemini, the need for stimulation or being overstimulated and stuff. And Uranus also has to do with the nervous system as well too. So it can be that constant need for media, or that constant need for just, like tech and just being like overly stimulated. So you just want to watch out for that as well too. But it is something to think about. Also too, telepathic, multidimensional, quantum leaping, communication. So your thoughts, your mind, your communication, the things that you are speaking, the things that you are thinking about coming into fruition. So that's why I said you want to try to, if you can during this time, very much so calm your nervous system, get grounded in this energy, because things are going to be moving quite fast, okay? It's going to feel like, okay, where's time? Like, damn, we're already in the middle of July almost. I'm recording this in June, but we're almost in July and the year just started. So that's what I'm saying, like, but also on top of that, just like I said, receiving downloads, just receiving like messages out of nowhere, maybe even generational codes or ancestral codes and things like that. It's like, Gemini is the messenger. So you could be getting a lot of downloads from messengers and spirits and things like that. And even just people in general, like people that you see on the road randomly, just drop some knowledge on you and just keep it going. You know what I'm saying? You might even start meeting soul tribe members or people, that you feel like resonate with you, especially with this Jupiter and Cancer, Uranus and Gemini combo. You might start to oh, that was random. Something just dropped randomly from the but anyway, yeah, you might just find your collectives and soul tribes and things like that here, and moving between different collectives and soul tribes. Okay, so a rise in the, I would say, when it comes to identity and things and who you are and what you represent, these things being a topic of conversation is us in the melting pot of those. And again, just information overload. You might feel overstimulated here, but there will be a lot of time and place for storytelling, kind of sitting around a campfire telling stories and sharing stories in new ways, because again, it's media. Also with the North Node in Pisces as well. So if you have an eye for, I don't know, filmmaking, or you have an eye for music, especially because, air also is like how sound and how speech travels and things like that. So if you have an air for like anything that has to do with creativity and expression, I would definitely say this is the time. I also feel like music is going to change dramatically with Uranus and Gemini, because people are going to just be wanting to talk and communicate and get things out there. You know what I'm saying? For the betterment of it or for worse. All right. So now we kind of got that into a pot of like the energy of Uranus and Gemini. Let's little sprinkle. Like I said, I'll be talking more about this in the Uranus and Gemini teaching. So if you want to come through for that, the link is in bio as I'm recording. It will be in bio as this drops. So the last time we had Uranus and Gemini for this transit, it was roughly around the 1860s. Okay, it was like 1861 to 1861 around 1866. I would even say like on the cusp of 1867-ish, but it was around the Civil War. That was the last time we had it. And in this time of that time, there was an advancement of railroads, so travel, transportation, telegraphs, and also the rise of newspapers as well during this time. So journalism was very powerful. So like I said, going back to storytelling, spreading the word, spreading the news. I think of Gemini as like, I've come with messages from the king, I've come with messages from the queen, that kind of energy with Uranus and Gemini here. But it was a time of very intense conflict, and there were opposing sides that were, oh, well, we believe in this, oh no, we believe in this thing, in war, you know. So just to keep that in mind, and we're seeing the rise, and also are seeing wars in different countries as well, and those things will also, they will hit their tipping point. All right, like we've only seen the beginning brief of this, but we're also going to see the tipping point as we go. And this is not to scare y'all, this is not to, like, I'm not trying to be a fear monger or anything like that, but tensions is high because it's a number of reasons of why, but we're due for change, y'all. So I mean, it's only going to get intense, more intense as we go. All right, and not only that, we have Lilith and Scorpio transiting right now. So like it's gonna get very platonic, and it has been very platonic, and it's gonna even go even further, but that's why we're here, right? Okay, so that was the last time. Like I said, I'll touch on it more in the webinar below. Now, the historical context of Uranus and Gemini, the last previous transit that we had after the 1860s was 1941 to 1941 to 1949. So this was around the World War II. We had, you know, mass propaganda in communication, just like messages, words being sent from all over. You didn't know what to believe. This newspaper printing this out, this newspaper printing, contradicting stuff out. Like, you know, I forget that telephone game. So you hear one thing on one side and you hear another thing on one side. He's like, okay, well, who's actually telling the truth? All of that. Gemini. No shade to Gemini. I'm just saying, like, word can travel through the telephone, but the way the message started through the telephone might not be the same message that it ends. Okay, if y'all have ever played the telephone game here. And also, too, let me know in the comments down below if you're watching this, if you haven't already skipped to your rising sign. How do you feel about this transit? And where is it transiting for you? And what are you hoping to expect for this transit yourself? Okay, so also what we'll be seeing here is this was also during this time was the early development of radar, early computing, early stages of computing in a different way, I should say. Code breaking, also too, the baby boom, all right, begins in this generation. The Cold War, also too. We had also the jazz era, another form of the jazz era, bebop, and existentialism as well with this time. So with philosophy and language. So it was very dual, like I said, at this time. It was very revolutionary because people were willing to go against the grain, all right, of what was happening in the world. And people were willing to do something a little different in order to basically, you know, go against the suppression, oppression, and the systems and the matrix that we live in, you know, at this time. All right, so we're coming back around full circle in a cycle to this energy again with Uranus and Gemini, okay? So just from an evolutionary astrology lens, you know, a transformative lens, as we can see and compare these two things, you know, yeah, how are we thinking at this time? Like, we're kind of doing like a complete overview of like how we see things, our perspective. Is our perspective that we've held on since childhood or even in previous lifetimes the same perspective that we hold now? And if so, where did we originally get that perspective from? Where did it originate? Is it something that we hold and we carry that is our truth? Or is it something that we hold and we carry from somebody else or from generations before? So that it's gonna be a complete eradication, y'all. It's gonna be a complete eradication of energy, and it can feel swift. Like I said, Gemini is mutable air, so it's always constantly, consistently moving. It's here, it's there, it's you know what I'm saying? Get some sleep, Gemini, okay? And so it's gonna ask us to release ourselves from the shackles. All right, like I said, it's air. We're not in earth territory no more. We're in fire and in air now. Well, you know, we do have the North Node in Pisces, South Node in Virgo, and then we also have Jupiter in Cancer now. So it's a little soft bedding there, but it's only for the year. So after that, you know, we're going to be moving into Jupiter and Leo, and then after that, we're going to be moving into Aquarius and Leo. So things are about to fire up, you know what I'm saying, during these times here. And then also, like I said, speaking multiple languages, questioning things on the binary. What makes something good? What makes something bad? Questioning morals. What makes something this and what makes something that? That's all going to be in that Uranus and Gemini, cesspool of energy, okay? And then again, going back to like the downloads, ancestral tech, writing, automatic writing, and things like that coming into as well. So as we kind of pull all that energy in, let's go ahead and get into each rising sign. We're going to start with, oh goodness, let me get my bag real quick because I need to write times down. So I got you. We're going to start off with Aries Rising and what this Uranus and Gemini means for you. But let me get my pen real quick so I can mark down the timestamps for y'all, because I know y'all be asking about the timestamps. But please, if you feel called to watch the beginning, okay, of course my pen don't work. And it just broke. We ain't even in the Mercury retrograde yet. It's crazy. Wait, where's my other pen? Hold on, y'all. Aries Rising. Okay, here's my pen. Let's see. Aries. Okay, so for Aries Rising, we have for you Uranus going through your third house. This is where Gemini's home is, in the third house. It has to do with communication, again, travel, siblings, your immediate family, all forms of communication, okay? And the ways that you're also speaking on a day-to-day basis as well. So what you can see here is liberation in the ways in which you speak. A thing about, I would say, with Gemini energy here, Gemini is very unfiltered when it comes to its form of speech, right? It's not the type to want to hold back or be held back from its speaking and talking and things like that. It just wants to say what it has to say. So you might find yourself, the ways in which you're communicating to the outside world might be changing. You can also find yourself moving at this time, especially when it comes to like collective groups. So maybe, for example, and I know some of you, I'm already hearing like, oh, no, I'm gonna live by myself with Aries Rising. Maybe you could be doing one of the two things. You can either be moving to like a collective group setting or something like that, or you could be moving outside of a group setting and maybe living alone, but having like community connections is here too. Also, you could be learning a new skill. Third house is skills, you know what I mean? So you could find yourself wanting to learn a new skill and things like that. Some medicine that you'll be working with during this time is learning maybe a new language, or like I said, picking up a new skill. Again, rewiring the ways in which you speak to yourself, the ways in which you perceive the world as well with Gemini here. And then you can also start some type of podcast during this time with Uranus and Gemini. So you could start a podcast for speaking. You could do public speaking. You could feel called to want to express yourself through music, media, things like that with Uranus and Gemini as well here too. So yeah, well, let me see. Okay. Let me put this here. I say Aries. So that's some of the things that you could be seeing Aries rising. Now, if you want like a detailed, look at your chart, you can definitely hit me up on the link down below to just see how this is going to be affecting you personally here. Hold on. Let me close the door real quick because. Okay, for Taurus Rising, all right, this is going to be, wait, let's do 24. Okay, for Taurus Rising, this energy is going to be going through your second house, all right? So the second house is the Taurus house. This has to do with not only financial valuables, but this also has to do, or material valuables, but this has to do with your inherent value, okay? The things that you, like material things that you have around you, that you keep around you and stuff like that. And just also like the ways in which you maybe quickly make money and things like that. But essentially, this is how you see and value yourself at this time. Okay, so One of the things that are going to be coming up for you is the freedom from material attachment. You might let go or release the ways in which you looked at money before. Okay, and then you might find new ways to bring in different sources. And it doesn't just, like I said, have to be financial, but just in a sense, you might find yourself like exploring new hobbies that that bring value to yourself. I feel like this is like something that you could be picking up that you used to do before, or it could be something completely new because it is Gemini, so it's fresh. So you might be picking up something new that you really, really love and you really, really value, and you want to kind of bring to the forefront here with this Uranus and Gemini energy going through that second house. And also, like I said, just changing the way you see yourself. So creating a digital or creating value. This is where you could see somebody maybe who is making a new source of income in some way or shape or form from online. You can also see somebody teaching as well, something specifically, knowing that your voice is the thing that's going to bring the things in. All right. And then I think, especially for Taurus Rising, this is going to kind of really redo the ways in which you see stability. Okay, your personal stability and how you, I feel like how you mesh with your stability. Like, what does that actually mean for me in this time, in this life? It's a lot of that. And also with that Pluto and Aquarius retrograde right now, I think all of this is coming up under like a complete 180 in a full circle. It's going to be begging and asking you the question here for that. Okay, let me see. So we're going to go ahead and move on to Gemini. And like I said, please leave me a comment down below. I would love to hear your thoughts on what this is doing for you. And also, if you would like a personal reading, you can hit me up also at the link down below to know and see how this Uranus and Gemini is going to be directly affecting you. All right. So for Uranus and Gemini in the first house, Gemini Rising, let me see. Gemini Rising, this Uranus and Gemini transit is going to be affecting you directly, boo. All right. First house is the Aries house. It's the body, mind, soul, spirit. Not only the way that you perceive the world, but the energy that you are meant to embody in this lifetime. Now, I like to think of Gemini Rising as the curious cat, all right? Or the toddler that just wants to try everything in the stores. Like, oh my God, I want to get this. Now I want to try this. And I want to do these things and that things and things. So Gemini Rising is like, you're going to be reinventing yourself, you know? You might, your style of dress, the way you communicate, the way you speak might be changing. Honestly, you might look yourself in the mirror and be like, is this me? Is this me now? Am I changing into a completely different person? And I would like to say that maybe it's not necessarily a completely different person. Maybe you are channeling somebody from a previous lifetime. You know what I mean? You're embodying some person, people, places, things that you used to be in a previous, time, a little tizzy. You know what I mean? So you could definitely see that here. So allow yourself to move differently. You know, if you start to see yourself changing or feel yourself changing, don't resist it. Okay, go with the flow. You know what I mean? See how you move and the things that you like. And if there's things that have to fall away, allow them to fall away. If there are things that you want to hold on to those things. But don't get too, that's why Uranus is here. Don't get too fixated on the thing if it's screaming and asking you to let it go. Okay, so you are a multi-dimensional soul. You're a multi-dimensional being. Show that. Okay, new canvas. Who dis? Okay, Gemini Rising. Okay, so that's what I have for you. Please leave me a comment down below and let me know what you would like for this Uranus and Gemini transit. Okay, and how you're thinking about this Uranus and Gemini transit. And if you would like a personal reading, you would definitely find me down below, and we could talk a little bit more about what this is going to be personally for you. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and move on to Cancer Rising. For Cancer Rising, this Uranus and Gemini transit is happening in I'm trying to write this down. This Uranus and Gemini transit is happening in your 12th house. So this is the Pisces house. This has to do with the subconscious. This has to do with the mind. Okay, this has to do with past lives as well. A previous incarnation that you had, or incarnation that you had here. This also has to do with You know, I like to think of 12th house always as like if you're going into the attic. So things that have been buried deeply from maybe even not just your childhood, but even previous lifetimes. Okay. This is also distant places. Okay. This has to do with hospitals. This has to do with monasteries. This has to do with isolation as well. This is also the ways in which you escape. This is the hidden part of the self. It's kind of like 8th house, but not exactly. Okay, so with this going through your 12th house, there's going to be some revolutions going down in that subconscious mental place. Okay, your dreams might be wild. Okay, I'm going to just go ahead and let you know right that. Cancer Rising, keep a dream journal on deck, boom. Keep a dream journal on deck because your dreams might be very, 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 very potent, very, very, very visual. You know, there might be some code switching and, you know, mapping that's going on in the dream. So definitely keep a dream journal on deck. Okay. It's like being a conduit, right? Because Gemini is like the divine communicator. So you could find that in your dreams, and not only in your dreams, but even during the day, you have like these psychic downloads and visions and stuff like that that come to mind that you're like, whoa, wait. Hold on, like when did I start dreaming about this, or when did I start doing this? I think I'm a little dirty. Hold on, let me watch this real quick. Yeah, here we go. Had to watch it. But yeah, so you might find that at this time with this Cancerian energy, very, very vivid here. And also too, because it's happening in the subconscious mind and people might not necessarily see what is going on in your brain, I would definitely say at this time, Cancer Rising, take time to take care of your mental health, because again, this Uranus and Gemini comes in like a wrecking ball, okay, like a hurricaneana, and it might be bringing and exposing some things not only from this present time but from a past. And so you're going to need some things to allow you to ground at this time, because you could feel like insane in the membrane, insane in the brain. You could feel a little like you're going a little crazy, and this is not to scare you, but this is just to say that there might be things coming up that trigger you. And so you need that time. And also a channel, Cancer Rising, to put these things into. Do not let this energy just sit in your mind. Find a way to channel this energy outwardly, okay? So I'm gonna keep you with that. All right, now we're gonna move into Leo Rising. What's good, Leo Rising? What's happening? Let me put you down real quick. All right, for Leo Rising, this Uranus and Gemini transit is going to be going down in your 11th house, okay? This is the Aquarius house, so it's opposite from you in that 5th. Okay, this has to do with collective organizations. This has to do with philanthropy. This has to do with, if it's not collective organizations, it could be friendships, but this is just like the overall dual mission in your life. Like we talk about dreams, hopes, wishes, and desires, but like this is like Aquarius 11th house is like, or at least this 11th house energy is like the divine purpose and the divine mission. Okay, so you might end up running into some folks, Leo Rising, that are going to come with you in collective to see a vision that maybe y'all collectively have through. All right, we're talking about this from an evolutionary perspective. All right, so there might be some key players that you're meeting over the next 7 years that help you with your futuristic visions, ideas, goals that you have, and bringing those things into fruition that is in betterment of not only yourself, but also the collective as well. All right. You might be even seen as a leader in this because you are Leo Rising. You're learning how to be a leader within these spaces. Also learning how to express yourself more as well. So you might find people that, especially with the Uranus and Gemini energy, you might find that you find some people that kind of bring you out of your shell, your comfort zone, that get you kind of a little bit more expressive and things like that as well. So, you know, you have genius ideas and you have very genius, like I said, futuristic visions, and they need to be shared. They don't have to be shared with everybody, but they do need to be shared with the people that become into your soul tribe and family and things like that, and acted on as well too. All right, so allow the community to hold you, your community to hold you, and know that your visions and know that your dreams and the things that you're wishing and wanting to foresee in the future are very real, and they're very possible of happening, especially if you've already seen it, especially if mentally you've already seen it in your mind. Don't sleep, okay, Leo Rising? You can also use, especially with the 11th house, because it's Aquarius and it rules technology, so social media platforms might be a big thing. The internet as well too, just connecting, having like a wider or broader reach, broadcasting and things like that, media through that to get information and news out, and connecting with people through that as well. You could find some very strong allies as well, for better or for worse, check the vibe, you know what I mean? But people who can become solid members, and y'all could do some real stuff out here, you know what I mean? And also the youth as well too, because Gemini is very youthful. So if you have the position to also do something that has to include, the kiddos and everything like that, I would highly suggest it. But let me know in the comments what you feel, what you think, how you feeling, how you would like this Uranus and Gemini to affect you. And also, if you are looking for a personal reading for this particular transit and how it's going to affect your chart personally, you could definitely hit me up down below. I also have a Jupiter in Cancer course available as well if you missed the live session that talks about this year-long transit about Jupiter in Cancer and how it affects us collectively and all these things. So you could definitely check that information down below. And yeah, definitely looking forward to hearing from y'all. All right, Virgo Rising. Virgo Rising, let me get y'all down real quick. Okay, Virgo Rising. This transit is happening in your 10th house, all right? This 10th house energy for you is the Capricorn house. The public spirit, the public face. It is a legacy building, okay? Overarching theme, public center, public space, front center stage, space here. You probably gonna be called to the front, Virgo Rising, here. So you might be doing some groundbreaking things that center you front and stage. I can already see the Virgo Rising like, okay, I have to get ready for that. Yes, because we need you, okay? We need you, boo. So if you have, again, going back to like those genius ideas and things like that, you might be called to the front to share, different belief, or not beliefs, in your, not just in career. I know we talk about career in astrology for 10th house, but just overall like mission, vision, destiny, purpose in this lifetime. And because it's Virgo and also Gemini is here, it has to do with communication. So speaking on things, you know what I mean? Creating as well too here. I don't know why I see somebody like, creating like a new mapping system here. Like I said, because it's, maybe like planning neighborhoods. And I know that sounds like, wait, what? Or like, maybe you're like a master herbalist or something like that, or you work well with plants or some type of medicines, or you're in some type of service industry and things, and you have like new ideas and tech and things like that you want to share, and you like, I don't know, maybe like one day, and it's like, no, share it, Virgo Rising, please. All right. Share your ideas, not just being of service for people, but like what you think and how you know what I mean? Because there could definitely be some innovation there. All right. So don't feel like you need to play the back or the field at this time. Show up, front and center, even if it feels uncomfortable. Okay. We need you, girl. We need you, guy. We need y'all. Okay. So, that's what I have for Virgo Rising. Like I said before, please share how you feel this Uranus and Gemini is going to be affecting you in the comments down below. And if you like a personal reading to see how this personal transit for the next 7 years is going to be affecting you, you could definitely click that link down below. Okay. All right. And let's go ahead and get to Libra Rising. For Libra Rising, we have Uranus going through the 9th house. Okay, this is the Sagittarius house. Okay, long distance travel. This has to do with philosophy, belief systems that you inherited, not only from your childhood, but also previous lifetimes ago. This has to do with higher education, long-standing education, like deeper than the Geminian, like little actual factuals, but actually going on the great journey. 9th house is going on the great journey. Instead of hearing about it, for example, on a documentary, you're like, you know what? I'm going to just go and see it and check it out for myself. All right. So I feel like with you, Libra Rising, you could be moving a great distance at this time. Over the next 7 years, you could find yourself moving away from maybe your original place or home of origin, okay, and moving to a brand new place, brand new energy, brand new people here. So if it's been on your mind to do, I would say, Libra, kind of move on to that side. If it's something that's calling you, no pressure. You know what I mean? But this could just be overall. If you're not moving and you're like, oh, no, I kind of want to stay. This could just be a whole complete undergoing of the things that you believe in. And also really getting the key in, you know what I'm saying, a microscope under like your belief systems and your philosophies. Like, where did those things originate from? How it is that you think? What has shaped the ways that you think? What has shaped the ways in which you move through the world as well? Okay, and are you ready to go on that great adventure? Okay, so that's something to definitely keep in mind here. Teaching also through storytelling. I like to just see somebody as like a renowned poet that just goes all around the world and travels and, you know, shares the poetry. I also see this as somebody who can be somewhat of sorts of like a diplomat, because I mean, Libra is very diplomatic. Libra also has to do with like contractual agreements, law. It also has to do with advocacy or activism, you know, the rights, a lot of times are the rights of women and children with Libra energy here. Did I mention lawyer? Okay, just so, you know what I'm saying. So yeah, you can also see this here. Also, to another thing that I want to say about this energy before I kind of move into the other stuff I was about to say is interior design or architecture, okay? Libra is very good with pattern making, pattern designs and geographic things as well. So I don't know why, but I see for some Libras maybe coming up with like plans or things like that with home structures, because I mean, depending on what side of the world you are on, we're starting to see a lot of the same looking homes. So like I see like Libras maybe coming up with like new interior or even exterior designs for the ways in which we situate our spaces and our homes and things like that too. So if that's something that comes up for you, it could be for a select few, but that's something that you can also see here. I would say, you know, we did talk about travel, and then also just blending the idea of science and spirit and kind of like a mesh melting pot here of energy, sharing one and the other here with Librian energy. And you know how to make things beautiful. So I would definitely say use your beauty for your advancements and not only the advancement but the advantage. So I don't know, maybe you're sharing art around the country, you know, or in different spaces. And ninth house doesn't necessarily have to be out the country or foreign. It can be, but this can just be like a distance place that you've never been before. So you just completely maybe on the other side of the world. And if it's not on the other side of the world, it can even be like a city over. You know what I mean? But for the most part, it's like it's a distance to get to these places and things. So if you feel yourself called or moved, I would say go for it. All right? Let me know in the comments what you feel down below, what you're thinking about this transit and how you want it to affect you. And also, if you're interested into a personal reading, you can also find me down below. Jupiter and Cancer teach in. Also, well, if you missed that and you would like to see it, there's a replay also too down below to see how this transit will affect you for the next year. Okay? So now let's get into Scorpio Rising. Ooh, Scorpio Rising. This is going to be juicy for you. Oh, just get this. Bye, love. You're scared. I was like, oh shit. Okay, it's good to meet you, love. Definitely. You coming on Monday? Okay, so you'll be back on Monday. Oh, so you'll be back on Monday?
Yeah, I'll be back.
Okay, for sure. I might be here. I might be here, but we'll see. And we'll see. We'll see what I'm into. But it was good meeting you. I said it was good meeting you.
Oh, you want to go?
You said what?
You will go? When will you go?
No, I'm here. Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. So,
Yeah.
oh yeah. So I'm gonna see you. I'll be back. I might not be back Monday, but I'll see you again.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay,
Bye. Okay. Okay, so Scorpio Rising. Scorpio Rising, you have this energy going on in that 8th house, boo. Okay, so 8th house can get a little, it's a transformative house. All right, it can get thick in there. All right, so you might just feel like your soul, is going through a complete entire purge at this time. 8th house is the Scorpio house of death and rebirth. Other people's money, inheritances, whether it's financial inheritances or gifts as well. You can feel a little activated here. This also has to do with intimacy, intimate connections with people, with others, and your sexuality. All right, as well as other things as well here. This has to do, also 8th house has to do with like your mental capacities, so the way you think, your psychological capacities and the things. And here, so it's gonna ask you to get deep into that mind. And as Scorpio Rising, this is something that you're learning to do. But I just want you to say, because Gemini energy can be good for this because it's mercurial, don't stay stuck in the mind. You need a space to let it out, okay? Because if you do just end up keeping all that energy in the mind, you're gonna end up going ballistic, psycho, and crazy, okay? And there's nothing wrong getting a little crazy, a little psycho, a little, but I don't want you, and it might send you into a little frenzy, but we need you to call it back with this energy. You can just feel like everything in the mental is coming up at once, because Gemini is asking you to see it and for it to be cleared. You can also be getting a lot of psychological downloads at this time, spiritual, ancestral downloads at this time, okay? Scorpio Rising. So you just want to, like I said, get grounded here. There also might be some stuff, okay? There also might be some stuff coming up about past things as well here too, especially when it comes to past life, familial things at this time that are going to need to be cleared from ancestral things here. This might also change the ways in which you look at intimacy, like I said, sexuality here. And also 8th house has to do with taboo interests. So if you find yourself wanting to speak on something that maybe people aren't speaking on, and you're like, I kind of have these things that I know, but I don't know, it's like, speak on them anyway, right? It's taboo. You need to speak on those things here, shadow energy as well, doing shadow work. A lot of deep-seated shadow work is going to be coming up as well too. And also, like, if it comes to like negative self-talk or negative like cycles of the ways in which you speak to yourself, Gemini is going to be asking you to kind of, it's going to be like a whole refurbishing of this energy, okay? Here, I would say if you can get into some spaces that really support your healing journey, being with people that you can trust, that can hold that for you and help you hold that while you're going through that time, I think would be really amazing for you. But even if you don't have the support yourself, leaning into that healing that is going to be happening internally, or like I said, finding a good channel to get it out, a healthy channel for you to allow that stuff to come out of your body. All right, so that's what I have for you, Scorpio Rising. If you know what I'm saying, let me know in the comments what you feel below, and how you think and how you would like this transit to affect you. Also too, if you would like a personal reading, you know where to find me down below as well too. So we're gonna get into Sagittarius. All right. Now for Sagittarius Rising, we have this Uranus and Gemini energy happening in your 7th house. Let me scroll a little bit down. 7th house is the Libra house. So this has to do with your relationships. This has to do with your partnerships. This has to do with contractual agreements, whether it's spiritual contractual agreements or physical contractual agreements, and just your intimate relationships. It doesn't have to necessarily always be romantic, but it can be. It can also be marital partnerships as well, business partnerships as well. But this is just like people that you are intimately and closely connected to within the 7th house here as well. Now, with this, you might find some very interesting people here with the Uranus going through that 7th house. People who radically make you change your mind. And when I say that, I mean you might meet some people that trigger maybe some things in you. If there was something there that was a little bit rigid, all right, you might find this Geminian energy to come as a shock to the body of the people that you meet, because 7th house usually has to do with other people or the things that you are, the type of energy that you attract in relationships. And so you might find people like very jarring at this time of like, wow, like you're just so different, and I never really thought about things like that, but I'm kind of now leaning into this energy and like thinking a little bit differently now. I'm not saying that you have to change your mind. Okay, I'm just saying that you might find some people who, have you shift a little bit, or maybe take a little step back, like stop the track, let me state facts in this energy here. Okay, so the traditional and sometimes even rigidity energy that maybe you find yourself in certain spaces and places, or even maybe yourself, you'll find that the Geminian energy, especially when it comes to other people, is going to allow you to break some molds there. Okay, and so you might find mirroring effects in relationships. So maybe those parts of yourself that you suppress, you're like, oh my God, these people are so free. They're so free, they're like this and they're like that. And then you start to shift and you start to change. Not to say that you're trying to be like these people or but you just start to look at things a little differently because of the certain relationship that you are attracting here. And also too, I just want to mention, if you are partnered, this can be a switch in partnerships or a breaking or break of partnerships, or maybe you decided, for example, I don't really want to be married, or I don't really want to be partnered, blah, blah, blah. And then later down the line, you decide, well, maybe I could try a little some, but it just has to be a little different if I do with it. Okay, so that's what you can see here, Sagittarius rising. Okay. Now we're going to move on to Capricorn Rising. So for my Capricorn Rising, also too, for Sagittarius Rising, let me know in the comments how you would like this Uranus transit to affect you, knowing what you know, okay? And also if you would like a personal reading, you can definitely hit me up down below if you would like to know how this transit is affecting you directly. Also too, for this Jupiter and Cancer transit that we're currently going through from now until the next year, I do have a live teaching also down below if you would like to check that out as well, okay? So, for Capricorn, all right, Capricornio, let me update your little timestamp here. All right, so for Capricorn, you got this energy going through that 6th house. All right, this is the Virgo house. It's day-to-day routines and the things that you're doing on the day-to-day. Health, wellness, smaller animals. Yes, smaller animals. 5th house is bigger animals here. This is also the alchemy house. It's where you alchemize the energy. The ancient ruler of the 6th house used to be a place where you go and find the alchemy, where you transmute energy here, okay? This also, has to do with the people that you work with on a day-to-day basis. The things also, too, that you're doing on a day-to-day basis, like your lifestyle and things like that. And I feel like this has to do with your health and wellness routine here. It's kind of undergoing a whole 360 of energy. If you feel like you've been pushing the T to 10, all right, here, Uranus is, yes, I know it's Uranus energy, so it might ask you to like maybe find the middle in between when it comes to, or even I would say adding variety to your day-to-day routines and things like that. Like Gemini wants to do things differently, Okay. Now I know it's like, well, I have a Capricorn rising, so like, what does that mean? Well, it's a balance, you know. You're learning the structure of Capricorn rising, but then you're also allowing yourself to have like the heels of curiosity with Gemini energy here, and also being comfortable with change if you're not already. You know, Gemini is constantly and completely changing and things like that. So maybe you're like starting to get more comfortable with things shifting and changing and things. So that's something to keep in mind here. Okay. So maybe you're doing like sound healing here, music writing here. You know, I had to slip in the musician and things. If you're not a musician, that's fine, you know, but finding different ways to express that Geminian energy here. I'm sorry, y'all. I had put glue on this morning. It burned the shit out of my finger, and I was scratching. I have to do my girls again. Hold on 1 second. You like the hat? I know. I made it myself. But anyway, it's just in case you were asking. Anyway, yeah. So health building, building a sustainable communities and things like that in your day to day. In your communities, and also if you're on an anti-capitalist regime, then this is also things that can be coming up as well within your communities. You could find things are being done a little differently, especially in smaller communities and networks here. I don't, if you're not with that, you like, I don't know about that, then maybe this ain't that ain't necessarily for your things. But if that is something that you're into, you could find that those things are happening within the communities that you see. And you can also be finding people that are like in the same networks as, and when I say networks, I mean, or community, I mean like people who kind of have similar, not the same, but very similar visions as to what it is that you are looking to build at this time. Because I mean, you're Capricorn rising, you're building something. I don't know what it is, but you're building something. Okay. All right, so if you would like a personal reading to go a little bit deeper in how this is going to affect you, please, that link is down below. And if not, that's fine. Please leave me a comment down below and like and let me know what you would like this particular transit to affect for you, or how you would like this transit to go. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to Aquarius Rising. Let's see where we at. Okay, so Aquarius Rising. Whoa. Aquarius Rising, this is happening in your 5th house. So this is the Leo house, okay? It's very fun, a very exciting house to, it can go always just like anything else, but this is very exciting to go in. It's like the house of play, gambling, if you will, flirtation. All right, this has to do with even entrepreneurship as well. Bigger animals, larger animals as well here too. This has to do with creativity and childbirth with the 5th house here. So, you know, allow yourself to play, Aquarius rising, with this transit. You know what I mean? You could feel a lot more youthful, or you could be working with the youth as well here too. Especially when it comes, I feel like, to like tech and technology, like maybe, and it doesn't have to be, y'all. This is just like examples of like what it could be, but like teaching youth how to build robotics and tech and things like that here. And then also, just like I said, just allowing yourself to play and experiment, whether it's with arts, music, technology, whatever the case may be, and things. I would also say just allow yourself, I would say allow yourself to be goofy. You know what I mean? Allow yourself to maybe get into some, like, I know we're not talking about 8th house taboo things, but maybe things that you've always wanted to explore, you know, because 5th house has that childlike energy to it. Maybe you've always wanted to explore, like, I've always wanted to be in a band. So you start a band, a rock band, you know what I'm saying? Some type of band, and y'all playing music or whatever, just for the sake of it. Not because you're seeking to gain anything out of it, but just because you just wanted to, right? So this as well, you can also see here too, okay? And then, you know, you might feel a little rebellious at this time, especially when it comes to your creative in artistic endeavors at this time. You could find a new way to, or new ways, multiple ways, because this is Gemini we're talking about, to express your creativity. All these things could be spilling out of you in ways that you never, like, or maybe you did before, and then you're like, oh my God, I'm rechanneling this thing, or I'm rechanneling that thing, and now I want to make art like this, and now I want to do it in this way instead of this way, and then I'm just having my hands in all these things. Gemini rules the hand, so just, I'm not saying you have to limit yourself in this, in your creativity and things, but did I scrape it off? I did. Whoa, I did scrape it. My bad. My speaker. Yeah, anyway. What was I saying? Allow yourself to be the mad scientist that you are, Aquarius Rising, okay? This is going to be the time of exploration for yourself. Exploration to see the heights that your creativity can lead you down, the path that it will. And not only for yourself. It is about play for yourself, but it's also about play for you and others as well, too. This could even be finding like a tribe or community of people who also have like these different, ways and expressing. I mean, y'all come together, and then it's just like this whole community of, that Aquarian peculiar expression of Aquarius energy. So please let me know what you would like to experience in this particular transit, Aquarius Rising. Also, too, if you would like a personal reading to just see how this transit is going to be affecting you directly, you could definitely hit me up for a personal reading. Okay? And, yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing y'all share here. But before we go ahead and conclude this, of course, last and definitely not least, also, too, Jupiter and Cancer teaching as well, Aquarius Rising. If you're interested to know how this Jupiter and Cancer transit that's happening now from next year is going to be directly affecting you, I do have a teach-in. If you missed the live session, also available down below. Now, for Pisces Rising, let me put your little timestamp down here. This transit is going to be happening for you in the 4th house. This is the home. Okay, family, roots, ancestry, divine feminine. Okay, the mothership. Okay, ancestral, awakening and memories coming. I'm pretty sure you've been feeling it already. And if you have, you don't have to share everything, but just let me know down in the comment down below if it's hitting for you. Okay, roots, home, lineage, all those things. So you can find yourself moving, first and foremost. I mean, it is Gemini here. So you can find yourself moving homes, changing homes very frequently here. Wait, what? Okay, I'm not really sure. There's somebody just texted me. Anyway, so you could find yourself having like divine downloads from ancestors and things like that here. You could find that the home is a very powerful space for you to connect with ancestral things. You could find a lot of changes in like even your family home or your family ancestral lineages, like basically things being uncovered in the family home and roots as well here too. You could find that it just feels very like, yeah, it just feels like a lot of, I'll say this, Pisces Rising, get like really get personally grounded at this time, because you could feel, especially with the North Node in Pisces right now, you can just feel like you've been plugged in. Not necessarily, I would say, into the matrix. Maybe you do feel like that, but I mean, I guess we all here, but you could feel like you're being plugged into as a conduit into something else that is kind of like ushering its way from the spiritual realm into this physical realm in this world. So you can feel a little hazy, a little bit, you're in flow, but could feel a little bit hazy. So you definitely want to take the time. I feel like the home is going to be the sanctuary, but it's also going to be a place where there's a lot of movement. That's why I'm saying, now, if you're not moving at this time and it's just like you just chilling, the home is still like a place of a lot of things happening. You can see some very superstitious things going on in the home. If not, like I said, a lot of like ancestral reconnection. There could even be gatherings. Like I said, you could also be moving very frequently, but also just being paying attention to your mind, your mental energy here as well. And yeah, you know what I mean? Just taking time and space to have that conduit rekindling, if you will, between you and spirit. And also, what does home actually mean to you now? Okay? What does home mean to you? All right? How do you see home for you and your spirit and things like that in this time? So that's what I have for you, Pisces Rising. Like I said, please leave me a comment down below and let me know how you would like to experience this transit. Okay? And also, not only how you would like to experience this transit, but if you are interested in getting a personal reading and how you would like this, or how you would like to see how this transit might affect you directly, then you can also book a personal reading down below. I also have a Jupiter in Cancer teaching if you missed the live session, just to see how this Jupiter in Cancer energy is going to affect us all directly from now until next year. And yeah, just hit me up. Let me know in the comments down below. Y'all be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And yeah, more coming soon. You know, I miss y'all. I miss doing these videos and things like that. And you know, we gonna keep it going. You know what I mean? You already know what it is. It's Araneae Storm checking in, checking out, without a doubt.